One thing to recognize is that there are different levels of events that could happen, emergency events in a community. So you could have anywhere from a normal event like a home fire to a wildfire, all the way up to catastrophic events, which is the one that I'm most worried about personally. If there is a major earthquake, which predictions are will happen over on the coast in the state of Oregon, they're predicting a 9 to a 9.2 earthquake with an ensuing tsunami to accompany that. Most of the coast is really in severe trouble. They will lose all of their utilities, be it power, roads, sewer treatment, natural gas. It's all gone for them for the most part. As that earthquake moves to the east, the impact will be 7 to 7.5 in the valley, which still means major destruction of facilities and utilities and so forth in the valley. As it gets to our community, we're down in the 5 range. So the damage isn't nearly as bad here, but there is some. So the immediate impact on the community isn't quite as bad. We will feel it, we will know it, but hopefully no loss of life or very little, if any. Some injury maybe. The worry then becomes loss of power here, which the predictions are we will lose power, possibly natural gas. So those are, from a community standpoint, some immediate things we're going to have to address. Individuals have to be prepared. We've been working on a plan that calls for 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, and that everyone should think about how are they going to deal with a situation where they don't have the government to be able to provide facilities, and that they're going to have to rely on themselves for some period of time. So that's first and foremost. How do we as individuals take care of ourselves? And then there's the government response, which is the area I'm concerned about, is what are those things that we're going to do as a government and the community to take care of things. So immediately we need to worry about public health, water and sewer, and then public safety, police, fire, and so forth. On the public health side, all of our wells and all the water in Redmond have emergency generators. The sewer treatment plant has emergency generators. There's a bit of an issue there with pump stations, but we're even putting a plan together to deal with those. On the side of public safety, some huge potential issues. If there are natural gas leaks, obviously the potential for fire. The other big area that we have to worry about is the secondary impacts of a catastrophic event. I mean refugees. We're prepared for 20 to 25,000 refugees. If we get, as the Red Cross is predicting, up to 100,000, how do we deal with that number of people pouring into Central Oregon? It isn't just Redmond, but it's all of Central Oregon trying to cope. Then we also become an emergency response center. If both Portland and Eugene airports have been damaged beyond use, then Redmond becomes the primary source of emergency response for the state of Oregon. So how do we deal with refugees coming from the west and trying to get equipment and supplies to the west? So our police force is overwhelmed. So how do we augment them? We have the National Guard that we're going to rely on. My next step is to meet with the National Guard, make sure that there is this catastrophic event plan in place, that our role has been defined in there so that we know what we're going to do, that we have all of the processes and procedures in place here for us to be able to deal with not only the primary event, but all those secondary effects that are going to affect Redmond and in fact all of Central Oregon. Whenever a major event like this happens, be it a wildfire to one end or a catastrophic event like I'm trying to describe here today, the Red Cross is a primary player in all of this. And of course they do everything in their power to provide for those people that need help. You also have available to you in the community other groups like church organizations and other nonprofits that will be right there to try and help as well. So if you need help, look for the Red Cross. They're going to be on site. but also if you're a member of a church or any other fraternal organization, turn to them as well, because they look at themselves as also trying to be a provider of services.
In the event of a large-scale disaster such as a flood, earthquake, or any type of incident that would require us to look at additional resources besides what we have on a daily basis, we are very fortunate to have very good emergency service partners within the Central Oregon area. Each community, whether it's Bend, Prineville, Madras, Sisters, we have Crooked River Ranch Fire Department, we have an outstanding mutual aid agreement that can come in and help us when our resources start to run thin in these types of events. I'm also very proud of a regional approach that can provide resources for Redmond Fire and Rescue. One of the things that becomes our primary focus in a disaster is communications. And our fire station is equipped as the Emergency Operations Center for the City of Redmond. And what that means is that in the event or during a large-scale event, all of the communications are going to come from the fire station here. And we are very fortunate. We have backup power systems. We're currently working on ham radio system. We understand and certainly look at other large-scale disasters that happen throughout the United States and the world, that communications are certainly the key to mitigating these types of incidents. And also at the same time understanding that in these events that we might not have communications. So we have put plans in place to deal with those situations. We've also relied on public-private partnerships. We are currently in discussions with a local church, for example, to help us set up our Emergency Operations Center and to provide other tasks that we might not have the manpower to accomplish. So we are always looking for help in those types of, in those areas. I also think it's important to reassure the citizens that in these types of events, we're going to be doing everything that we can possibly do to mitigate the incident and keep Redmond safe.
One of the other things that the city is doing through the police department is arranging for block captains. As I talked about, one of the big issues is going to be communications, or in fact lack thereof. So what we're arranging is block captains all over the city so that there are people that the police know they can go to actually make linkages into a neighborhood, and then those block captains can go out to all the members of their neighborhood and provide two-way communication, worst case via voice, person to person. So keep that in mind as well, and as we get this more mature, everyone will be contacted, know who their block captain is, how to get a hold of them, and what their roles and responsibilities are going to be for you.